In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories. Welcome to Raw and Order, the wrestling booking unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet, launching their live stream as we speak. We are going live on YouTube and Facebook right now. We'll be adding, Twitch or something in the future. So joining us this week, I am Detective Mark Smarks, your host, joined by my partners in crime fighting. Actually, only one of them this week. We have JLB, RCMP from up north in Canada. What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, good sir. I am doing good. And we are live. This is kind of exciting. It's almost like I'm getting butterflies for some reason. But, we'll see how it is. It should be fun. A lot happened this week, good sir.
A lot did, and not all of it good.
No.
Not all of it good at all. Before we get into talking about all the wrestling this week and what we liked and what we didn't like, I would like to remind everyone that Raw and Order WBU is part of the Tatnus Co. podcast network. So head on over to tatnusco.com. Check out the other podcasts there. Make sure to tell them that we sent you, and then come back here to listen to or watch our future shows here. No DA Fabe this week. He was back from his hiatus for a couple episodes, but it's been a rough couple weeks for him, so he needed just a little bit more time for him. So thoughts going out to DA Fabe here, but we are going to go ahead and start to get into, of course, make sure to, as the little thing here says, like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at Raw and Order WBU. Of course, JLB has all of his stuff in his little doobly-doo down there, so you can follow him on the Twitter machine there.
Yep.
And here's the deal. We're going to get into our crimes this week. And kind of big news this week is our main crime is a joint crime.
I mean, I figured we would both talk about it, but yes. Just in case, no one is on Twitter and sees what is trending, I think you might as well let them know, good sir.
Mm-hmm. So our joint crime is on the AEW Blood and Guts ending, really. Or I guess the match itself. I thought the match was pretty stellar overall. I think we're probably going to disagree on the crime itself for it.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little back and forth, but we do both agree that the Blood and Guts match is the crime this week. So I'm going to go ahead and start off and let you give kind of your opinion, what you thought of the match and where the crime is on that, so we can see kind of if we agree or if we don't.
Fair. So you just said you were going to start off, so I'm technically starting off.
Yeah, I said I'm going to start by letting you.
Okay.
Start by letting you.
That doesn't work. Okay, fair enough. I will do. Thank you, good sir. Yes. So my main problem is, so of course we have the Jericho fall. That is a problem in itself. It looked fake. My only problem is, I guess it's a two-part crimer for the Blood and Guts. The issue at hand is, one, it probably shouldn't have been done on TV. The commercials I found ruined the match itself. And then, of course, the surrendering portion, as well as then the Jericho fall from his bed to his bed sort of ordeal, was just very lame-o potatoes. And then I guess I would have to give something to the commentators for saying, that's concrete down there. That's concrete. Oh my God. And then it was just a bunch of cardboard boxes or something. Now listen, I got a whole bunch of Twitter schlack from a bunch of wrestling fans saying, did you want it to be concrete? But no, I didn't want it to be actual concrete. I just wanted it to look decent. The camera angles were bad for the actual fall itself. You can tell it was a bunch of cardboard boxes. You can tell that was probably the most comfortable time that Jericho has ever been bumping in a ring because it looked so soft and protected. I get it. He's 50 years old. This is not my issue, guys. I don't want the guy to fall on concrete and have something that happened like what happened with Matt Hardy or something like that. I don't want that. But what I want realism in that regard. You know what I mean? If you're gonna make it a big deal, you gotta at least make the fall look somewhat decent. So those are kind of my problems with the blood and guts match. Before any of that happened, it was a pretty decent match. Sammy Guevara killed it. Wardlow killed it. It was pretty decent all in all. There was blood everywhere. It was cool. But at the same time, the commercials kind of ruined it for me too. So it's a flop for me. And that is my spiel on that one.
Okay. So we don't disagree quite as much as I thought we were going to. Okay. Because most of what you said, I agree with in a way. I overwhelmingly thought the match was good. But most of my issues with the match were actually production issues, not match issues, right? Except for some big ones at the end. So production issues, like you said, commercial breaks, right? If you're gonna do a match like this, TK, this is the time to shell out the extra money for, at the very least, exclusively picture-in-picture commercials.
But it was
at the minimum.
It was, though. I felt like there was always a picture.
They had at least one commercial break that was full commercial. At least here in the United States. Maybe it was different in Canada. But in the United States, there was, I think, one, maybe two times where it started off picture-in-picture and then it went to full commercial. And the reason I know that is that was when they it was towards the end of the match when they peeled up the mat in the ring to expose the boards. I didn't see that happen.
Oh,
it went from the match going on, picture in picture, commercial break, come back, the ring is all torn up, and I didn't know who did it. I literally rewinded to try to see, did I miss something? And I didn't right. Because it was in commercial break.
Okay. Yeah, that was picture in picture for me.
Yeah. So I didn't see how that happened. And maybe it was my provider or whatever. But the simple fact is everything should either be picture in picture or here's the big thing, preload and pay some extra money to have commercial free that segment. Because this thing here, this is where they peaked on viewers, and so you had the most eyes on the product at this time. And yes, I understand it. Advertisers are going to want to have advertisements when the most eyes are on it. But most eyes were on this at this time. This was the time for you to shell out the extra dough and get no commercials, or at least limited commercials for it. Heck, at this point, go get a sponsor. Get a sponsor and say Blood and Guts sponsored by whatever.
And then that's it. And then or have like how they used to do it. They used to have the sponsor on the barricades and all that.
Sponsor on the barricades, a ticker at the bottom, kind of like our ticker that says joint crimes down there. Right? Just a ticker that says Blood and Guts sponsored by Slim Jim or something,
That'd be weird.
Because the commercial breaks were the biggest thing that killed the momentum in this match, the anything. It just everything fell flat because of commercial breaks. So that's the number one thing that I have issue with.
And I also felt like there was just a lot of commercials in general, even during, first of all, the first hour was pre-taped. Yeah. So why didn't you just commercial the shit out of there? You know what I mean?
And that's something that's worth at least talking about a little bit. We'll save that. We'll put that on the back burner for now because it's something that we need to talk about. But for this, just less commercials or sponsors, something so that you don't have to be lost. The other things were in production ways, and you mentioned it here. The fall at the end. There are 100 different ways they could have shot that would have been better. The best one would have been, they seem so focused on, we have to see Jericho hit. No, right? We've seen hundreds of examples of this from WWE, from WCW back in the day, from ECW, from Ring of Honor, from Impact. These things are best shot if you have a cameraman right beside the place where Jericho's gonna fall, looking up at the top of the cage, and you see Jericho fall out of frame here, and you just hear, and you've got MJF center frame looking triumphant after throwing Jericho off. That's what you do, right? We don't need to see Jericho in the pit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then in related production, and you mentioned this, don't have your announcers hype up what he's falling on. As soon as they said the concrete floor below, I was like, oh, geez. So they're going to throw him off the concrete floor.
Right.
The best falls in any wrestling event have always been the ones that we didn't see coming, right? Especially looking back to the biggest, most probably important of them all, Mick Foley off the top of Hell in a Cell.
Right.
We didn't see that coming, and just all of a sudden, he threw him off. And that's where it becomes special. As soon as they said, "Oh, there's a concrete floor below," I was like, it's not concrete.
Well, I mean, that's also the first time they did it, though, so that's a bit different. AEW is going off of millions of cage falls, not millions, but thousands of cage falls.
But that's my point. They've had enough examples for them to know you don't hype it up in advance. You just let it happen. Because the outrage from it, or the excitement from it, is the unexpectedness. And as soon as you pitch it, the excitement goes away on it, and it's no longer an exciting moment for it. So that's where I am from it. Now, where we kind of differ a bit, overall, I thought the match was great. I didn't mind the fall. Into the thing at all. It just needed to be shot from a different way. The only thing really that I would have changed for the match itself, really, is I would not have had Sammy Guevara give up before the fall.
It was silly stupid.
Yeah,
it didn't make any sense. Sorry.
Yeah, it makes sense from this standpoint. This is the storyline they're trying to tell. That Inner Circle is a family, and because they're a family, they're so tight-knit, they're not going to let harm come to one of their own. And so he gave up because they're a family and whatever. I get the storyline. It's bad booking. It's what it is. The storyline should have been Sammy Guevara standing down there going, no. Ortiz and Santana standing down there going, oh, geez. Or them beating up so much in the ring that they can't do anything. So they're laying in the ring. The rest of the Inner Circle, Jake Hager's laying in the ring. Sammy Guevara and Jericho are the only ones up doing anything, right? Mm-hmm. Sammy Guevara's like, no. Jericho then gets thrown through the thing. Sammy Guevara says, oh my goodness, no, we surrender afterwards.
That would have probably made more sense.
It makes more sense. I get the storyline they're trying to tell. They're trying to portray MJF as a madman, as a sadist who's willing to just throw someone off, even after the match was over and all of that stuff. I get all of that, but it really took away from the story, the way it went, the match itself. Overall, I liked the match. I liked the setup of it. I kind of wish it was a little bit more Hell in a Cell-y in terms of outside of the ring, because the pictures made it look like it was a little bit wider than the ring, and it really wasn't. There was that one time that I think it was Santana fell down outside the ring, in between the ring and the cage, but it's like only like 8 inches wide there. So he was basically stuck for a while, and that was
Oh, really? Okay, I must have missed that.
It's important to mention there were a few botches in the match. in a match like this, it's bound to happen. There was one time that Sammy Guevara went to do a springboard from one ring into the other, and his foot slipped, and he just kind of biffed it into the ring. And he spent, to be perfectly honest, he spent a fair amount of time after that trying to recover from it. So I was really actually worried that he was maybe hurt at the time. But he did okay after that. There were some fantastic spots back and forth. So many people bloody.
Right.
And that's fitting for this sort of a match. My wife did look at me halfway through it and said, "I don't see any guts, though." I'm like, well,
well, yeah, no, that's a bit much. It's a bit, yeah,
probably not going to be guts.
Probably,
I'm gonna be fair with you here. Probably no guts. But I get it, from those things. I just think there was a better way to pull off that ending, that doing it in the opposite order would make more sense. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the elephant in the room from the back burner, and we're going to put it on the front burner and talk about the pre-taped, because that might be, to be perfectly honest, the biggest crime of the night. And here's what I get it from a lot of standpoints. Number one, they advertised it as a one-match show, right? The people buying tickets, the advertisements were all saying, "You're coming to watch the blood and guts match." That's it. They sold the tickets based on that. They did all the stuff based on it. But here's the deal. When live people show up to your show and they end up sitting there for an hour watching matches on a screen, that ends up being bad PR. Even though he gave refunds, Tony Khan gave refunds and all this stuff, it still is just a bad look for the show. And so, and I understand from this standpoint, they haven't figured out how to set the ring up, the cage up in this case. And since they're in a half dome outside, there's not a ceiling that they can lift the cage up like WWE does for Hell in a Cell or whatever, and then lowers it down. They don't have the ability to do that. So,
but couldn't they just have it at their football stadium?
Well, it's an open air football stadium, so now.
But then I guess, how do you get the crowd there or whatever? Or maybe you have, one of the last match kind of pre-taped, and then you have everyone to go to the football stadium because it's right next door, right? It's right there.
Yeah, it's right next door. There are some things they could do for that.
Because that's what I originally had thought. I thought that the blood and guts match was going to be at the football stadium, because I'm like, okay, I don't know how they're going to be able to pick that that huge cage and whatever. And then I guess the double ring, they can't really have the double ring there for the other matches. So that's why I just assumed that was going to be at the football stadium, and then they were just going to have the regular stuff there.
Thing is, they can have the double ring there for the other matches. WWE and NXT does it for War Games every year. Just 2 matches there. They just use one ring.
Right.
So that's just something they can do, and they just didn't do. And that's where I get it. I understand from the standpoint of a production, how do you make this switch? There has to be a better way.
Right.
And maybe next time they do a blood and guts match, because it was still successful despite all of the ballyhooing that we're doing on this. It still was a successful night. It was a successful show. If they do another one, I bet you that if they do another one, they do it at a pay-per-view, right? And then it's going to be at a stadium. They can do the winch system like WWE does or something. They can work it out. This one being effectively their first time, because they never got to do it last year. We have to give them at least a little bit of slack for it being their first time, but it's like the people that were in the crowd paid good money to sit there for an hour and watch nothing.
Well, I mean, do we know how much the tickets were, though? Because if it was just one match, how expensive can the tickets possibly
I don't know
be?
how much the tickets were. They weren't a lot, but even if they were just $20, you know what I mean? It's still someone pay. It's like you pay money to go see a movie.
Right. That's $20.
and they say, okay, you get to the second half of the movie is going to be on the big screen, but the first half of the movie you're going to have to watch on your phone.
It's so different.
What?
Yeah.
What? I don't want to watch half a movie on my phone.
Right.
You know, I paid $20 to watch the movie here, and so I get it. So it's a balancing act, and in the future, I hope they do it better. For this time, they really whiffed it on some of things. Now there were a lot of other big things that happened in the Blood and Guts pay-per-view that are at least, or pay-per-view, Blood and Guts episode that are at least worth talking about. But the match itself as a whole, like you said, I thought Wardlow did good. I thought Sammy Guevara looked really good aside from
phenomenal. Even Hager looked good technically.
Yeah, Hager looked pretty decent.
Yeah.
Dax Harwood took some massive
bumps
bumps that really impressed me there. So all of it went good, and there was even like fun things with Tully Blanchard getting involved, knocking out the referee outside to take the key to open it up so he could pass in weaponry and stuff like that. So that's all good. I'm for all that. I think the match overall was good. Just the problem is the little things that they did that didn't work added up to leaving a bad taste in some people's mouths.
I can't wait until hopefully they put it on YouTube or something so I can actually watch the match in full without any commercials. That would be my dream right there. Because honestly, that's really kind of just what ruined it. It was a decent match and I was all excited, and then hey, commercial break. I'm like, really? And honestly, I get it. It's picture for me, at least the majority of them is picture to picture. But picture in picture is not that entertaining to me. Honestly, I'd rather you not picture in picture me because it's also really stupid. I'm watching a quarter of my screen.
Well, yeah. The tough thing is
and I feel like I can't hear you.
It was a picture of them fully cutting away. But
say that again. You kind of cut.
I would rather picture in picture than them fully cutting away.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean,
but at the same point, if I have room to fast forward, I sometimes fast forward through picture in picture breaks.
For sure.
So it's a weird balancing act there. To start off the night in the pre-tape segments, you had the Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa, or MT Nakazawa as he's called now, and I don't really get where that comes from or whatever. It furthered the storyline, but you had the Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall match, which I never thought I'd say that there was a boring Cody Rhodes match, because normally he's very solid, but this was a boring Cody Rhodes match to me.
Honestly, I'm not a fan of the storyline. I think that also what adds to it. I just don't care.
I don't have a problem with the storyline overall. I think this is not me knocking on QT Marshall, but I think there could have been a better wrestler for them to have put in this storyline. Because here's the deal:
knocking off QT Marshall.
We don't like. Yeah, he's one of the trainers at the Nightmare Factory. That's his school and everything. But from a storyline standpoint, we at home don't know that, right?
Right.
So they could have picked anyone to be the teacher at the school and done this. I personally would have preferred this to be a Cody Rhodes versus Nick Comoroto match. Or Cody Rhodes versus Aaron Solo, or one of the things. And if this is going to be the story they're going to, the QT match should be the build-up match at the end. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, I guess maybe the storyline that they're going to is Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo, because obviously this is trying to build him up. Because he comes in at the end of every match and does one punch to someone's gut and absolutely kills them, apparently.
Right.
Like, I get it. Olympic boxer, punches really hard. Yeah, I get it, whatever. But we've literally watched Cody Rhodes nearly die in the ring, doing stuff that looks a lot more painful than an Anthony Ogogo punch to the gut. You know what I mean?
Right.
But apparently Anthony Ogogo's punch to the gut's just
It's
not
the
gonna
ultimate
kill
punch.
you. Britt Baker versus a nobody. Like, did we really need that match? It was
You know what you
decent-
could have done instead of having that match? Have a commercial break so you have less on the freaking blood and guts.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
The tag eliminator match. I mean, it was important from a storyline standpoint, but let's be honest. It's setting up who faces the Young Bucks next week for the tag titles, and one of the contestants in it was SCU, who have publicly stated the next time they lose a match, they split up as a team. So who do you think's gonna win this match?
SCU.
SCU. And sure enough, they won the match. So I was like,
And I mean, one thing I also maybe might want to complain about is the whole Orange Cassidy versus
Kenny Omega.
Is it Ken? Yeah, but it doesn't Orange Cassidy have to face someone in order to face Kenny
He
Omega?
faces Pac next week.
That's it.
Or
Like
Pac.
Pac.
I never remember which way it's pronounced. It's Pac,
the bastard.
Pac,
Either way, he's a bastard.
Pac. Yeah, I better not hear this. He'll come and kick my ass.
What? That he's a bastard?
No, that
Excessive.
I called him Pick.
Pick. No, that's Puck.
Mm.
Hey, he's not Canadian. He can't be Puck.
But
Bad joke. Yeah, no, I mean, do people honestly expect Orange Cassidy to be winning here? Like
that's the tough thing here is like, no, I 100% don't expect Orange Cassidy to win the belt from Kenny Omega.
No, but I mean to even beat Pac, first of all.
I don't think anyone ever expects Orange Cassidy to win a match. That's kind of the whole joke with Orange Cassidy.
But then it's a waste of time. Like,
but I think he's going to win.
Oh.
I really do. I think there may be shenanigans involved with it because it's against a member of the Death Triangle, and the Best Friends have been at war with Death Triangle recently. So I think there will be shenanigans. But even more than that, like, as much as I love Orange Cassidy, I have him sitting back there in front of the Bootios.
Over there.
Actually,
well,
he's not
I see the Bootios.
You can't see him because my mic. There he is.
Ah, there he
right
is.
in the corner there.
He doesn't got his hands in his pocket though.
Yeah, he's got one hand in his pocket.
One hand in his pocket.
It's crazy. His action figure actually has pockets in his pants. Actually has pockets, and then he's doing the lazy thumbs up with the other hand. Nice. So, I love Orange Cassidy, but here's the thing: do I expect him to win the championship belt from Kenny Omega? No, I do not.
Right. Which makes it pointless then.
Which kind of makes it pointless because if you're going to have someone whose whole thing is trying to win the belt or whatever, you need to make it a plausible thing.
Especially when this is at Double or Nothing, right?
Yes. The match.
Like, what is this? Like, yeah, that's so lame.
So, I mean, about the only thing, because we've still got a couple weeks before Double or Nothing, right?
Okay, right.
Because I think it's end of the month. So there still could be shenanigans. Like maybe next week or this coming week, I should say, is going to be the first actual DQ finish to match on Dynamite. I doubt it, right? But if I were to do it, I would stretch the Pac versus Orange Cassidy thing out a little bit farther and have it,
or make it a triple threat.
Yeah, or a triple threat or something, but stretch it out farther so it's not just, hey, here's the match. Now wait 3 weeks or whatever it is, right?
Right.
But I don't know. I think Orange Cassidy is just so popular for them right now that and I love him. So they feel like they need to shoehorn him into the main event. And what I think the conventional booking wisdom would be that he needs to move up through the mid card first, and giving him a run with the TNT belt for a bit would make him more of a contender with. And I know you don't want to take the TNT belt off Darby right now, or maybe you do because he's got a match with Miro next week. So,
do you actually think Miro's winning that?
No, I doubt it. But at the same point, they booked themselves into a corner because they've got Darby Allin is the guy who never gives up and will basically die to win the match. And then you've got Miro, who they brought in to be this absolute beast and have failed to do so far. I mean, I guess beating the tar out of his own partner, Kip Sabian, a couple weeks ago, at least put him in the right direction. But I mean, the simple fact is they need to do something to make Miro be the beast that he's supposed to be. And right now they haven't. And that's where it's a little tough, because if you have Miro lose cleanly to Darby Allin, it ruins his momentum as being the beast, right?
Right.
But if you have him beat Darby Allin, it kind of hurts Darby Allin's momentum as being the TNT champion, right?
Exactly.
So how do you do it? Well, this is where AEW has booked themselves into a stupid corner, because they have so far been fairly open, at least Tony Khan has been open about he doesn't like DQ finishes. And I get it. A certain other promotion whose name shall not be mentioned, cough, cough, WWE, cough, cough, does DQ finishes all the time, left and right. Like, I got to be honest, I don't remember last week's Raw because I barely watched it because all it was Eve.
Right. You weren't ready for the evolution, apparently.
And so I like shut it off. But I'm pretty sure that half of the matches on it in some sort of DQ, right? They do it a lot. So I get it. There is overusing it, and WWE does it. So you can't do that. But Tony Khan says he just doesn't like it at all. And the problem is, if you don't use DQs, the threat of a DQ goes away. So in every match, you hear Tony Schiavone or JR say, "Oh, we better be careful or he'll get disqualified." Right. 2 years, we've had one singular DQ. And it was in a Iron Man match, Pac versus Omega. It was the first fall was a DQ. Pac purposefully DQ'd himself to give Kenny Omega a point, so that he could then beat up Kenny Omega and get an easy point for the second one. So, but that's the only DQ they've had so far.
Wow. Okay, that's crazy though. 2 years,
and that's 2 years now. You know, I'm not saying we need DQs every week, but if you don't do DQs, they cease to be a threat. So even anytime you see that referee go, "Oh, you better stop that or I'll DQ you." No, you won't.
Right. Yeah.
You won't. So, but yeah, so Miro announced that he's got his contract for the championship match against Darby Allin. It finally was a promo from Miro that set up something big for him, something that's not him being the best man at someone's wedding, talking video games. It set him up to be a beast, but they're still kind of backed into a corner here.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Kip Sabian's going to screw Miro over, and then that's going to continue the feud between Kip and Miro, and then Darby's going to go. I don't know who was the one that threw Darby off the steps though. That was
I think it was Ethan Page. It was either Ethan Page or Scorpio Sky, but I'm pretty sure
I think it was both actually. Well, they were both there, I believe.
They were both there.
So. I don't know. Maybe, he's going to definitely feud with Ethan Page or something next. So maybe that's what will work. Kip Sabian's going to screw Miro over, and then that's going to continue that feud. Or Scorpio Sky / Ethan Page are going to come out and disqualify maybe Darby Allin sort of ordeal, because it's not like a no DQ match, right? Which I
As far
mean,
as I know, there's no stipulations named for it yet. So
that's it. So I mean, even with no DQ, I still feel like Darby does some crazy stuff that should technically be like, whoa, you kind of used. I guess I didn't use a weapon, but it's crazy hardcore stuff. It's weird. Yeah, they have to be a little bit more stricter on the rule book though. If you're not having like hardcore matches or anything, you're certainly doing a lot for a regular match to be considered, you know, decent. Hey, thank you, good sir. What an amazing show indeed. I see that there.
yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot for your comment. Go ahead and keep the comments coming, because we would absolutely love to know what you think of the AEW, A&W, A&W. I got food on my mind.
Oh yeah.
AEW Blood and Guts
Now I'm hungry.
episode. Yeah, it was
Thanks.
a long day. I ate way too much for lunch because we took my mother-in-law out for lunch at a
A&W.
Texas Roadhouse Steakhouse.
Okay.
So I had ribs
Oh,
and grilled chicken and loaded fries, and I'm so stuffed because I am a fatto. Um,
yeah, that's valid.
but
It's,
so we'd love to hear what you
nice.
guys think about the AEW Blood and Guts show. Whether you agree with us, whether you loved it, whether you hated it, let us know in the comments for it, or you can tweet at us at the names that are right there. Or I can't go over.
It's okay.
These, but they're over there.
Damn it! This is so difficult. I am not.
It is. It's so
There.
backwards.
Jesus.
But so, anyways, tweet at us. Let us know what you think of that. Since we had our double joint crime, we're not going to go to another crime. We will go straight in to misdemeanors. Misdemeanors are an interesting one this week because I really didn't get to watch much WWE. Like I watched a little of the. We could talk about Eve coming back, but we actually already gave it crimes last week,
right?
Because we recorded afterwards. We could talk about some of the stuff, but I basically got two misdemeanors. One of them, a misdemeanor for infections. It's going right up there with injuries. I've charged you with crimes before injuries, but this time infections. EC3 has released a statement talking about he's apparently been in the hospital
right
with life-threatening infections that were just little infections that he let go. He didn't specifically say it, but I would bet it's MRSA or MRSA, which is medication resistance staph infection. And he was in the hospital for it, and he's out and he's recovering, but it apparently just really wrecked him. So here's hoping for smooth recovery for him, because we love us some EC3 on this show. EC3. I think I did that.
I think you kind of did it miss, yeah. But either way, we got the point. He's on what? He's in ROH, right?
Three.
Three.
Yeah, he's in Ring of Honor. So
if it's a staph infection, that might be kind of messed up, though, no? Because staph infection usually implies there's a few other wrestlers that are messed up.
It usually implies that someone else has it, and he did not name any names in it. In fact, he specifically kind of said that due to HIPAA rules, he's got to walk a line with this and not specifically talk about things. But he said one of it was he had a cut on his foot that didn't get treated and must have picked up something from a mat in a ring. But he also has wrestled some independent, so he's not specifically saying it's a
ROH
thing. It could have been at some mom and pop, show that he did. Who knows?
Okay.
But it is. I mean, MRSA is a tough thing. It really wrecked John Moxley when he was with WWE. That's what took him out of action and as Dean Ambrose for a while in WWE was a MRSA infection in his arm.
Oh snap! Okay, it's true. Yeah.
So I'm coming at you, infections. Looking right at you. I'm charging you, infections.
That's
The other misdemeanor, and this one's a little bit more in fun spirits, but I'm charging WWE a misdemeanor for having an old school SmackDown and then theming it in entirely 1980s theme when
right.
SmackDown didn't exist in the 80s.
Okay. They just went like hardcore retro. Like, first of all, no fist. Or no, they had the fist, but it was
CGI fist.
A CGI fist, which I'm like, okay, not the same thing, but sure, I guess it's a big fist.
I don't really have a problem with the CGI fist, if only because when you're doing it all in the Thunderdome with no crowds there, why bring out the full thing? Just do it all CGI. I get it, but like the whole rest of it was like the old WWF style logo, but and
like the match card. I was like, what? I'm like, I don't remember this being a SmackDown thing. Like, I was like, what? I don't know. I don't know what they were doing. They just kind of went crazy retro, but then don't call it retro SmackDown. Like,
well, that's the deal is you could call it Time Machine SmackDown, or whatever. But old school SmackDown implies we're gonna do this like an old school SmackDown episode, which it wasn't. It was old school wrestling. You could have called it. Heck, if you wanted to do it 80s, just call it 80s Night on SmackDown.
Right.
And we would have been fine. But anyways, those are my misdemeanors. I didn't know if you had any misdemeanors going in for this week.
You know what? I have maybe a few. So first of all, my misdemeanor is going out to a wrestler who apparently wants to wrestle at a promotion still, Mr. Ryback himself. He's still, kind of doing these stupid polls about, where should I go? What should I do? And he still puts retired on it. And to this point, I think he's like kind of trolling with this whole thing. And it's like, Ryback, like, can you please just again, I'm talking about it, so I guess you're getting what you want, perhaps. But like, misdemeanor goes to just freaking Ryback of being trolling. Like, I don't even know what he's trying to get out of this. He's not technically getting anything because he's not going to be trending on Twitter. He's not using a hashtag. No one really gives a crap. He's technically downplaying. People are going to think he's worse now because of this, his trolling abilities, because he's not accomplishing anything with it. And it's like, well, then, bro, just stop putting retired on the list. And there's a way, I'm sure, you can close the polling to only those three. I don't know. I don't care enough to go and check what this moron is doing. I really don't care. So he's still doing that, and he's still on that. And I'm just like, dude, if you don't want to get the hint that people are telling you to retire, then I don't know, maybe don't take your advice from Twitter. Like, if you're going to base your entire future on a Twitter poll, you have bigger issues.
Yeah. No, I agree there. To be perfectly honest, I didn't put it in my misdemeanors because it's one of my commendations. I am commending Ryback for being dumb enough to repeat the poll from last week, but thinking it would have different results, and more specifically, thinking that just asking people on Twitter to not choose retire would work at all. Right.
And deleting the trolls. Yeah. I've deleted all the trolls from my Twitter. Like, really?
Have you ever been on Twitter, Ryback? If I post something on Twitter and I say, please don't choose this, that's a way to guarantee that people choose that.
Doesn't work about donating money. I can't be like, guys, don't donate $5 or anything. Don't do it. Just absolutely don't do it. They just don't do it. They listen. Yeah. It's very unfortunate.
We should try. Maybe we should try sometime saying, don't like, share, and subscribe to this podcast.
Okay. I don't think that would work either. Nope. Yeah. That reverse psychology just doesn't work.
But just, I mean, I didn't have a huge favorable opinion of Ryback before this. Like,
no, me neither.
I thought he was kind of an idiot before this.
Right.
But really, Ryback, Like you
He's
post it
trolling
one
though.
time.
He's trolling. That's what he's doing though. It has to be. It doesn't make any. And then first of all, the audacity to think that one, you can go back to WWE. Like, why would WWE want you back? They fired you for a reason, and you didn't really do anything else since then. I don't think AEW is going to want to take you. Maybe Impact, maybe ROH, but like the audacity to think that you have the control, like it's almost kind of egotistical. Like, oh, where should I go back to? WWE? Da, 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 da. Like, first of all, who says WWE wants you back? Who says AEW is even thinking about you? Why would they waste a dime? You know, like, come on. I don't know. But that was definitely, I wanted to at least give Ryback his 5 seconds of fame there because it's just ridiculous. But I guess kudos for the troll. Another thing I wanted to also mention is it's, I mean, I don't know, because I feel like bringing Jimmy Uso back, which is kind of a weird thing for me to say, but it's more along the lines of like, you kind of messed it up already. Like, I don't know. I just wasn't excited. Like, okay, he was like, no, I don't want to be, you're acting like a bitch. Okay. Like, I get it. You would kind of go that route. That makes complete sense. But I just feel like then Cesaro also beat the crap out of him at the end of SmackDown. So does that imply that he's with the tribal chiefs sort of ordeal? He's with the head of the table. And I don't know. The little SmackDown that I did watch, I thought that was kind of ridiculous, but just because like Jimmy Uso shouldn't have been with them to begin with. I feel like that's just more of maybe a big booking preference. I feel like he should have just automatically been against them, do something, come out when they were hitting Cesaro at the end and Jimmy Uso comes in, helps Cesaro out. That would have gotten certainly a bigger pop for Jimmy Uso. And then you would create like a brother versus brother feud. That would have been perfect. As opposed to if you do that now, I mean, you're kind of in agreement, bro. We should go after the tag team titles. I kind of agree. Roman's making you look like a bitch. Oh, he's doing it for the family. Okay, cool. And then, like, what then? And then you just, I don't know. I just feel like the impact wouldn't be as crazy as if you just went to help Cesaro and then you automatically went against them, sort of ordeal, you know? So they kind of ruined a moment there, I feel.
No, I mean I get it there.
Oh, sure, you don't watch SmackDown, but I'm sure you heard.
I watched replays of it and all this. So I get what it's tough because like you want to make a big deal about Jimmy Uso coming back because he is legitimately one of their names, right?
Right.
But I think it would have been way better for instead of it to be all promo time, he comes out, he talks to Roman face to face, he turns Roman down and leaves and all that stuff. I think it would have been way more impactful for Roman to be in the middle of doing something and Jey Uso just shows up and attacks him.
Yeah.
And just immediately, bam, now he's in the midst of it. He's in the middle of it. He's doing it. And it's instantly, we know what side he's on. They're trying to play this all will he or won't he? Is he going to be on this side or not? No, just immediately put him on the opposition side. Yeah. And then because you're going to set up this feud. That's what they're doing. It's going to be Uso versus Uso.
Right.
So just get into it and do it. WWE loves their promos. They love their talk times. And this is an example of a time that they should have just skipped it and went straight to throwing fists.
Exactly. That's it. Because I'm not going to care enough to want to see these freaking promos based on how it is done now. Like, I already know what you're doing. You're just wasting more time. Well, one, I'm making a full-fledged report of not trying to watch a lot of SmackDown or Raw. So, but I'll hear about it and then you'll be wasting my little less precious time to be like, oh, okay, so this is still happening. Like, even, what was it? Was it I think it was Charlotte Flair being in the mix for the championship, or was it Was it something on SmackDown? Anyway, there was a match that was set up this week, and I'm like, oh, but wasn't that already a match for Backlash? They're like, no, it was only set up now. I think it was maybe the Braun Lashley McIntyre, to the point where it's just Lashley and McIntyre now, right? Or did they make it that? Oh no, they made it a triple threat. Actually, yeah.
I don't know. I don't fucking care anymore.
I don't care.
And the sad thing is, I love Drew McIntyre. I love Bobby Lashley. I think Bobby Lashley is doing some of the best work of his career right now in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
WWE is just dropping the ball on the show as a whole, and that's what I think is absolutely killing it. And I mean killing it in the bad way, not killing it in the killing the business great way.
Right.
So the only other commendation that I wanted to do, because I classified that as a misdemeanor because I think it was. The only other commendation I want to do is, well, actually, I guess two more, right? Number one, news just broke right before we went live on this, that Becky Lynch has signed a new contract with WWE and is going to get paid. And I'm assuming is going to come back relatively soon to get those dollar bills and everything, which Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch is a match that I'd like.
That would be, yeah. I feel like we're going to see Flair, though, because now Flair is in the main event picture. I'm kind of done with Flair, to be honest with you. Like, I think I'm over her. Like,
I think the problem is we need new Flair opponents, and I mean as a whole right now.
Right.
Because if you look at the main roster WWE women's division, Flair has faced all of them except for two multiple times. And the two that she hasn't faced multiple times, one of them she's faced once, and that's Rhea Ripley a year ago at WrestleMania.
Right.
But Bianca Belair is the only other one. All of the other ones, she's just beat left and right. And that's why we need to get some new blood in there for her to wrestle against if we're going to pitch her. So, but I'm happy to see Becky Lynch getting paid, taking care of them baby, but I'm hoping to see her.
Did it mention how long her contract, how long she signed her?
No details were revealed yet, but who knows? Her last contract she signed in, I want to say they said December of 2019.
Oh, okay.
And they did say that this contract has been signed for a few weeks or maybe even months. It's just now becoming public, or at least being revealed. So she could have signed again back in December.
Another 2 years.
For all we know,
right.
Or so. The other commendation I want to do, and this is kind of connected to our first crime, I'm actually still going to commend AEW, even though overall the show, the pre-tape segments were meh, and the Blood and Guts has some issues. AEW gets commended because they were the number one show in the demo this week. Number one in the 18 to 49 demo. Which is huge, and they peaked at over 1.2 million people watching during the Blood and Guts match. So back up to over 1 million. Their average was over 1 million over the course of the whole show. So now, out of the 4 weeks they've gone unopposed, 3 of them they've been over 1 million, and just a full week ago, was the only one that they went under 1 million. So that's at least good news there. So commendations to them for that. Hopefully they can keep that ball rolling.
So the only problem I would say congratulations, first of all. First on cable, big accomplishment. That's even crazier news, still hitting 1 million. Great. But that's kind of the problems I maybe have with the whole rating system. Because the thing is, all those viewers tuning in doesn't necessarily mean that your product was good that night. It just kind of means they were curious to see how the product would be, right? technically speaking, because it's not, oh, after the fact. It's not like a survey. How many people actually enjoyed the show? Did you enjoy the show? Yes or no kind of survey sort of ordeal. This is just how many people were curious to see a War Games match, right? So that's kind of, so yeah, congratulations. But at the same time, I feel like some people think like, oh, see, it was a great Dynamite. Like, no, that doesn't mean it was a great Dynamite. That just means they promoted it well enough for the War Games match for people wanting to be interested enough to tune in. That's really all that always means. And a lot of people conflict it with, oh, because it was such a great show, that's why people tuned in. Well, no. Why would people know if it was a great show if they weren't tuning in and then they go and tune in? They were already tuned in because that's how you get the demographic. I don't know. I maybe that's a basic statement, but I feel like a lot of people tend to confuse the two, with it being technically necessarily a good show, or it just had great publicity towards it. It's kind of almost like a movie, right? A movie broke the box office records for that weekend or whatever. That doesn't mean the movie was good. That just means everybody wanted to see it based off the trailer and the promo, sort of ordeal. So
the thing is the rating system is going to be important for future ones.
Right.
I do agree. I feel that fans, including us in the wrestling media, like to throw a lot of weight behind ratings. Ratings are only actually important to advertisers. That's it. Beyond be all end all of it. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter to us how many people watched, right? It doesn't affect our enjoyment of it in one way or another. There are wrestling shows that get 100,000 watches that are very entertaining, and there are wrestling shows, I'm looking at you, SmackDown, that get 2 million people watching it that are shit. And so we like to put so much into how many people watch it, and the thing is, it's not important to us. It's only important to advertisers. However, it is still important to the advertisers. And because it's important to the advertisers, it's important to the company itself. So for AEW to get number one in their demo, that means AEW can attract, that TNT can attract more advertisers for AEW, which makes AEW a more sustainable product for the second show they've got coming up sometime this year, for potential spin-off shows, stuff like that.
Right.
For hopefully, and this is reportedly why AEW has been filming so many matches recently, why their AEW Darks have been so long, why they've done all this stuff, is they're trying to build up a library of filmed matches that they can pitch to streaming services like Peacock, or they're probably not going to do Peacock since WWE is on there, but HBO Max, because Warner and HBO would be a perfect landing spot. So they're trying to build up enough of that to be able to tie in and have a streaming service at some point, which really would be a good future. Now, I think HBO Max would be a wonderful place for it. Not only because I have HBO Max.
That's probably the reason. Yeah.
Watch it. But I also do think it's an excellent streaming service. It's because it's Warner Media, which TNT is. It makes a whole lot of sense there. That's it. Being someone who's used both Peacock and HBO Max, HBO Max is way more polished of a program, of a service just in general. It just seems to work better.
Well, HBO Max has also been around more, though.
It's been around longer, but that's my point, is it's been and so it would be a great place for them to land. And that's why they did like that, for lack of a better term, house show a couple weeks ago, where it was a Friday night show that was filmed but was not aired on TV, on YouTube, on anything, because they want to have that as an exclusive for a streaming service at some point. I imagine we'll start to see a lot more of that as things start to open up from COVID, because they'll start to do some house shows and film them so that they're in a library for a streaming service to be able to do.
Which is kind of cool though too, right? So you could technically be on TV without even knowing it, and then you just go on, let's say, to HBO. Hey, bam! Oh, hey, I was at that show. Da, 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 da. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool too. That also kind of makes the house shows a lot more interesting.
So
to go to as well.
I'm hoping that we see that come to fruition over the course of this next year. And frankly, I'm really hoping that we start to see
Double or Nothing reportedly is going to have full on crowds, right?
So Double or Nothing's going to have full crowds, although it's just full crowds for Daly's place, which maxes out at like 5,500 people. So it's not like WrestleMania 120,000 people.
I'm always thinking of the football stadium as well for some odd reason. Okay.
Yeah. Daly's place doesn't have that much. So,
okay.
But still, I think we'll start to see some. I mean, AEW didn't, even pre-COVID, didn't do house shows, but they were still pretty new. I think we're not going to see the same sort of touring schedule that WWE did, where people were on the road 7 days a week, right? But I would imagine we do start to see Wednesday Night Dynamite and then like a Thursday or a Friday show someplace. So they do a Dynamite and then they go to another place and they do a show and then they get to go home. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So then that doubles up their stuff. And then when they add the second television show, they might do, let's say they do it a Friday night show, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
Just as a choice, right? They might do live Dynamite on Wednesday, house show Thursday, live second show Friday, and then everyone gets to go home until next Wednesday, you know? So it still would be a lot better of a schedule than WWE has, but it would allow them to build up this back catalog of stuff. I did think of one more thing to give a commendation to, and is the way Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell winning the tag titles.
Yeah.
Did we see that coming?
I didn't at all. That was awesome.
I did not. But I'm excited. I'm a huge Candice LeRae fan. I love Candice. And I'm excited because this is her first NXT Gold.
Snap.
Is surprising. But I'm sad. It was a great match. And for them to win was surprising. So I got to give a commendation to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually pretty shocked. She's only been wrestling. She's been wrestling for like 3 years now, huh?
In NXT, yeah. She's been there for a few years now.
So damn, that's still pretty surprising. But at the same time, it caught us off guard. Was a really good match, and that's how you surprise people. WWE, take pointers. Yes. Well, I guess it's the same company, but learn from trips. I guess.
Yeah. Learn from trips. That's actually we should make that into a t-shirt.
Learn from trips.
Learn from trips.
And have a guy tripping on the floor, tripping on the stair. Which it's a double entendre. We're doing it. That is awesome.
But so anytime we don't have our third wheel DA Fabe, our shows go a little bit shorter than they normally do. So this is going to be a little bit shorter than I normally do, but this is the time where we wrap things up. So I put up there, check all the links in the doobly-doos. That's going to be where links to our Patreon is, our merch store, our social medias, all of that stuff. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as we said before. Every platform that you're on has the way to subscribe to it, like the page, follow it, something like that. So make sure to have that clicked so you get notified. If you happen to be a person who likes to watch live streams, likes to watch it instead of just listen to it, because we're now doing the live stream on currently Facebook and YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to YouTube or follow our Facebook page. Those are going to be in the doobly-doos.
And also the bell there on YouTube. If you ever want to see us when we're live, it will let you know. And then bam, you can be with us and, comment with us. Let us know what's going on, what you're thinking. And, we'll obviously respond. You'll be with us. So it'll be like you're part of the show.
But like I say, the links are in the doobly-doos. Right down there, it's going to say all of that stuff. It's going to have links to the link tree that has all of our information there. It's going to have links to JLB's social media and everything there. So make sure to check out the doobly-doos. You can even get your link in the doobly-doo shirt at our merch store. Shop.spreadshirt.com/raw and order WBU.
Let's see if I can find it quickly. Keep going. Keep talking.
So you can find that there. You can get that shirt. You can get our Not a Cop shirt.
Nope. You don't have to stop. It's not the right shirt.
Not the right shirt. So our Not a Cop shirt, our brand new Wrestle Cop shirt, Wrestling Cop shirt. Our shirt that says "Please sponsor us, Turks and Caicos." That's all there because
that one I don't have yet, but it's coming.
We would love to be sponsored by the Turks.
I have a lot of blue shirts, surprisingly.
Apparently, you like blue, apparently.
Blue is my color. Everyone keeps telling me it. So you know what? I took everyone's advice and just got a bunch of blue stuff. But now I'm screwed because I can't show you the doobly-doo shirt.
Did we find it? Nope. Anyways, the link's all going to be in the doobly-doos there. You can also follow us on the social media. It says right there, I'm on pretty much all of them at Raw and Order WBU. So Twitter, we're on Raw and Order WBU on Facebook. I've got TikTok. I've got Instagram, Raw and Order WBU, all of those places there. You can follow JLB at the stuff that you see right down there, but he'll go through his whole spiel now too.
I mean, come on. You can definitely follow me at JLB420. Real Talk Radio is the brand at Real Talk Radio 8. Anchor.fm/RTR. We talk about movies, music, video games, all that. I've watched a few movies this weekend. Definitely going to shoot those out. And, I'm curious what you guys think and so on. We do a little bit of everything. So if you want to check that out, Anchor.fm/RTR. That's where all the streams are. And then, of course, you can follow me, send me some comments on what you're thinking. Or if you want to be part of a show, I have Conversations with Strangers, which just is a general chit chat with people I don't know. And it explores human behaviors and the human psychology of how people interact. And especially during this time, it certainly can help out a lot of people. So that's something I'm doing as well. And that's pretty much it. And of course, I do this Raw and Order with you guys, talk a little wrestling. And this live thing is pretty fun. So back to you, good sir.
Yeah, awesome. I'm enjoying the live stream. As we get going and more people start watching, we're going to get more comments. And we'll start taking questions and answers straight from our jury. But on that note, we're going to kind of close the book on the wrestling booking unit.
I gotta get a judge's hammer or something. We gotta get like a shovel. What is it called?
Gavel, right?
Gavel. That's it.
But I got my 6-pack of Sting action figures right here.
It's a gavel. Not the same. No.
Looking down on us. So there's all that. But yeah, so thank you all for joining us. Those of you who joined us live, those of you who are listening later, still, thanks for listening or watching. We will see you soon.
Ciao.